Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Four Continental Podcast. Once again, me Momin alongside Singh Park here. Here we talk about the games played early morning for me at least. Let's start off with the first game, Spain versus Saudi Arabia. That what do you think?
Right, right. So going to this game, I mean, it was a must-win game for Spain. I mean, in the Cape Verde game, they were kind of average, and did have to bounce back from that. And what a way they bounced back! I mean, the first half was just crazy. I mean, we saw Oyarzabal like being on his peak form again, and then Lamine Yamal. It was nice to see him finally score a goal as well. His World Cup, like his first World Cup goal. And yeah, and I think this is what happens when you bring on players like Olmo and Bayana for against teams that like to play a low block. I mean, we did kind of say that the main thing Spain struggled in the last game was the fact that they lacked players in that aspect of like breaking low blocks and what a way. And yeah, we today we've seen that happening. And whereas for second half, I think Spain kind of just sat back. It was kind of understandable because they were already like 4-0 up at this point. So they didn't want to risk any injuries and stuff. But yeah, even then Saudi were kind of struggling, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, what do you think of the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a do or die game for Spain to get back into the tournament, and they really asserted their dominance in that game. We saw how played a role and how crucial he is to this team. And secondly, speaking about Alex Baena, many people may not rate his performance, but I think he had the most line-breaking passes in the game. So yeah, that's definitely a plus for Spain. And as I believe we mentioned this in one of our previous episodes, the Spain's depth is insane. Like they have so many players, like for the attacking options. So they have a lot of great players which can change the game for them. And yeah, also we saw Oyarzabal scoring two goals. But on the other hand, I believe all the goals that Saudi scored, that Spain scored, sorry, were like all of them were like the if Saudi defended well, all of them would not really go in because if you really look at it, two of the goal were like keeper's mistake, like the defender's mistake, and the first one which Yamal scored, he was not very like being marked properly. So yeah, they it really paid heavily for them. And in the second half, as you said, Spain sat back. They weren't really attacking much because they were already 4-0 up. Although Saudi did start attacking, I believe, in the last 15 to 20 minutes, but they could not get a breakthrough from the Spain defense. And yeah, this is very concerning for Saudi, considering their last game is up against Cape Verde. And if things don't change for them, comparatively as we saw with Cape Verde, which we'll talk in the upcoming game against Uruguay, things have to change for Saudi if they wanna qualify for the next round.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. I mean, and even then, when Saudi they were kind of counter-attacking, like Salam Al Dosari, I feel like he was kind of wasting it for Saudis in the sense that he was kind of like trying to take on the players himself rather than like doing like simple passes instead, which I do think kind of cost them. But yeah, going back, I think the midfield was amazing, and even the defense was surprisingly good. I mean, Pedro Porro, I think he had a really good game. And they still have like substitutes like Lorente who did not play the game. And whereas for the midfield, I was happy to see Rodri play at a very good level again. I mean, he has been like facing washed allegations for a while, but I'm happy that we finally got to see a good game of him. And whereas the substitutions like Fran Torres, I think he was underwhelming again, but he could be like kind of getting off that because they were already like winning 4-0, so it was comfortable. But yeah, he really needs to step it up in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's move on to the second game, being Belgium versus Iran. What are your thoughts on this one?
Right, right. So I might be slightly crazy here, but in the sense I do feel like Belgium were playing like Turkey in this game. I mean, they did have like throughout the game they didn't have like many chances, but obviously we did see Iran's goalkeeper. He had amazing performance today. I mean, let's be real. The performance of him was crazy. But yeah, I think the team just kind of struggle now in this sense. I mean, we have Lukaku, who I think is out of form, which kind of makes sense because before he was kind of injured for a while, and then yeah, Iran were playing their usually like they were playing like more defensive as we kind of expected them, and we really kind of seen like Belgium struggle against that. And talking about Iran though, I do think they actually had a few chances, and Courtois actually saved them for it. I mean, saved Belgium for it, but even then, in general, I do think Iran's attacking power were kind of average.
Yeah, speaking about Belgium, of course they had like if you look at the stats, if someone who hasn't watched the game and they talk about the stats, obviously Belgium had a lot of chances which they I could perhaps wasted, and a lot of credit to the Iranian goalkeeper. He made some great saves, potentially that one save of the World Cup, perhaps because he was already like lying in the and how he managed to get his left hand on the ball. It was an insane save. And yeah, speaking of Iran, they were really solid defensively. I believe, yeah, Haj Safi, obviously the captain, he played a crucial role. All of the Iranian backline played a crucial role. And speaking of Iran attack, I believe when Iran had the chance to attack, they looked more dangerous comparatively than Belgium in their attacks. Like if we look at the Iranian, the free kick which Mehdi Taremi scored, but later was ruled out to be offside. I also think that was a pretty controversial decision, but I think that should have been a goal, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I think that was a really controversial call, but overall, Belgium being really average this World Cup, and and if they keep playing like this, I would rather have them knocked out of the group rather than do like play this kind of football in the knockout stages. So yeah, the last game is gonna be really crucial for them and see what they do. Hopefully they improve.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, I agree with what you were saying. Like, if we were just purely look at the stats, you would think like Belgium kind of dominated, but yeah, that truly was not the case. I mean, yeah, sure, they did have like a few shots in there, but yeah, they were just mainly struggling, and it's kind of crazy to see that now, though. Like, we did expect them to fall off, but I still think this is a level which is kind of unexpectable, like unacceptable for a team like them. So yeah, I mean, this group itself, I think, is already quite crazy. I mean, currently, I think they are third in the group, but yeah, the last games will be crazy, though.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a really close up group. So yeah, let's move on to the third game, the best game of them all, perhaps. So what do you think, Uruguay versus Cape Verde?
I mean, yeah, again, first off, I mean, just huge respect to Cape Verde. I mean, going to this World Cup, I kind of say that they were going to be probably one of the worst teams, but the fact that they have like picked up 2 points itself is kind of crazy. And going to this game, I mean, it really kind of it's kind of sad to see like Uruguay like fall off in this level. I mean, we saw Valverde playing at the number 10 role, which I don't really think kind of worked. I mean, he's a versatile player, but I feel like him at that role, he just kind of like always pass the ball back, and then just kind of like try to spam shoot the ball, which just didn't work. And then, and of course, we cannot ignore the error Muslera made. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, and they allowed for the second goal for Cape Verde, which I was quite happy to see, to be honest.
Yeah, Uruguay. It's honestly, you can say a fall from their, how big of a football nation they are. Like four times, some people may say two, but they're like four times World Cup champions. But that were in the past. But over the last few years they had like some good players. They at least made it through the group stages. But now looking at their team is very concerning. They have I mean, they have Bielsa as their coach, which is a really good coach. And even with him as a coach, he still can't like make enough of this from this team. And similarly, I would say, like in the first game, they also wasted many chances in this game as well, which they should have converted. But Cape Verde, man, huge respect. I'm sure 99% of the people had them finishing last in their group while during the predictions. But they are really the surprise package of this World Cup so far. Like they drew against two of the strongest teams currently in world football. They drew against Spain, they drew against Uruguay, and now they have a slightly easier, perhaps on paper, game comparatively from Spain and Uruguay, which is Saudi Arabia. And with I'm confident that they can win and they make it to the next stages. That would be absolutely insane. Being in World Cup debutants and already making to the knockout stages is already insane. And let's not forget about the first goal Cape Verde scored. Um, I believe his name is Pina. He just really said, I'm just gonna take it from here. If it goes in, it goes in, and it did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy goal. And
Where would
secondly,
you rank the
the
goal in the like top few goals you've seen this World Cup?
yeah, I mean this was definitely right up there. Probably the best one I've saw so far.
Yeah, yeah, same. For me, it was the best one as well.
Yeah, and yeah, but I think the second half in the last half an hour was quite intense because Uruguay as well as Cape Verde had some chances to take the lead and win the game, but both of them came really close but could not really get the finishing touch. Um, so yeah, it was really probably the most entertaining game of the night for me. All the four.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. And like you said, we still think like the Uruguay, like the main problem is really just the attack. I mean, they do have Bielsa, who is a good coach. I still back him as a very good coach, but obviously he cannot just solve the
Yeah,
attacking issue like that, right? And considering like the best attacker in Uruguay, who right now for me would be Araujo, and if you know him, that he's actually naturally a left back. Like the best attackers are naturally a left back for them. Like it is the attacking, like the attack for them is at that stage right now. And yeah, it is kind of crazy right now. I do think there's a huge chance that Uruguay actually finishes and get knocked out in this group. I mean, the next game they are going to versus Spain, and with the way they are playing right now, I really do think Spain will win that game. And whereas for Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia, I do think Cape Verde can easily get a point versus Saudi Arabia as well. I mean, it would be a entertaining game for sure, but I do think Cape Verde can get a point.
yeah, I mean absolutely. Basically do or die once again. Spain is probably through, but the rest of the three teams can still make it through. Like if Saudi win and Uruguay loses, it's Saudi going through. Maybe Cape Verde gets in the third spot, but they won't have. I just don't think they won't have enough points for the third place to be ranked in the top eight places. But I really want Cape Verde to go through the way they've been playing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
let's
by the way,
move on to the
my bad. I
yeah.
think Saudi Arabia would still finish bottom because of the goal difference, right? Yeah, yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the goal difference would matter, but if they have more points, then yeah, obviously they can't finish last. So yeah, let's move to the final game, being New Zealand versus Egypt. What do you think of this one?
Right, right. So for this game, I think it was, in my opinion, it was the second best game. I mean, the first half, it was quite even, in my opinion. New Zealand, they were like continuing their form. I think they looked good. Even Egypt were looking fine. But then, yeah, after the second half, I really think Egypt stepped up. Like Salah was amazing, obviously Egyptian king. Literally every chances that Egypt created felt like he was involved. And also think like the substitution in second half for New Zealand did kind of ruin the game for them. If I'm not mistaken, the player like old, I think he's called old, like he's number 19 for New Zealand. Like he came on and then I think like it was his mistakes that kind of led to the two Egypt goals.
Yeah, definitely one of the most, yeah, perhaps the second most entertaining game of the night. First half, I think that New Zealand had slight more chances in the first half as compared to Egypt. But if we look at the second half, Egypt really stepped it up. Like they kept on coming towards the goal, and then was amazing cross towards Zico to get the opening goal, and then it was a Salah masterclass. He got an assist and a goal. He's basically the Messi of Egypt, perhaps. You can't really expect a bad performance from him when it comes to such decisive moments because Egypt loses this. If Egypt lost this, they were basically out of the tournament most likely. So yeah, this was definitely a must-win game for Egypt, and now they've kind of solidified their place in the round of 32. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see in the final game match day of the group stages at how this group really shapes up.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean this group in my opinion has been like kind of crazy in my opinion. I mean now we are gonna see like how Iran, Belgium and New Zealand kind of stays up. I do think like you have said Egypt have kind of secured a place in the knockout stages. But yeah, and one thing I also wanted to mention was at the end, like what we have said before, it is kind of impressive that Egypt are like producing these kind of performances when most of their players like are still like playing in the Egypt league. So yeah, I know it's against New Zealand, but still, I think it's an impressive stat.
yeah. Uh, it kind of tells us that it's not really necessary to have all your players playing in the top five, top 10 leagues. You can be playing in your home league as long as you have chemistry. I believe you can overcome everything.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the beauty of football. So shall we move on to
Yeah,
the predictions?
yeah. Let's start off with the game, Austria versus Argentina. What do you think of this game?
Oh, we actually did the predictions for this yesterday, no?
Oh yeah. We actually
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
So, yeah, let's just move on to the second game, France versus Iraq.
Right, right. So obviously going in, I mean, I think everyone would kind of easily say like France are the favorites here, but I do think in the sense that looking at the Iraq versus Norway game, I mean, I said it at then. I don't think the scoreline really reflected how the game went. I mean, Iraq, I think they were quite solid up to like the second half. I think that's when they started crumbling. But so yeah, I wouldn't say it would be a big win for France. I'm actually backing a 2-0 win for France though.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but considering how France played in their opening game against Senegal, they were average in the first half, but second half they really showed their quality. And Iraq played against Norway. They did have some good chances towards Ayman Hussein, their striker, but unfortunately they could not really take advantage and they conceded goals. So uh, I think Iraq do score, but France just has too much quality. So I'm just gonna predict a 3-1 for France here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the quality gap is there, and we cannot deny it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it would be a shocker if France actually kind of struggle in this game. Even though I do think Iraq are not a bad, like they aren't that bad in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw, it's the World Cup. I mean, how many of us expected Cape Verde to draw against Spain?
Yeah,
So yeah, I
exactly.
mean,
It's the beauty of football.
anything, yeah, anything can happen in the World Cup. So yeah, let's move to the third game, being Norway versus. Uh, so yeah, so what do you think of this one?
Ooh, I actually think this is a really interesting game. So, like I've said, I actually was not super impressed with Norway performance that day until like the late comeback. But yeah, I mean, I think this will be a close game though. I think like if like Odegaard has a good game, and I think like the whole team will just play a lot better because in that Norway game before, I think a lot of players we kind of expected to play good were kind of average. So yeah, I'm actually backing a 2-2 draw for this game.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, but I think that the way Senegal played against France, if you look at their first half, they missed a lot of good chances. But I think they're definitely going to work on that. Considering the players they have, they're definitely capable of beating Norway. So I'm gonna back Senegal here for a 2-1 win for yeah, a 2-1 win for them.
Right, right.
Yeah, moving to the third game being Jordan versus Algeria. Oh, let's start with the prediction.
Right. I mean, this should be an interesting game. Again, I don't think Jordan were that bad. I think the game they played versus Austria, the scoreline didn't really reflect it, but I do think Algeria will kind of wake up in this game. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the scoreline will be like the difference will be that crazy, but I am backing Algeria to win here. So I'll actually back a 2-1 win for Algeria.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game, perhaps, considering Jordan, who did really well against Austria, played against the 75th minute, you can say. Then they sadly conceded the own goal, and their morale basically just went down. And that's where they conceded the third one. But up till then, I think Jordan was doing quite well. They were good in the attack as well as the defense. However, Algeria against Argentina, I think they had a lot of gaps in their defense, in their midfield, which Argentina took advantage of, and they weren't really, like closing the players down. But um, Algeria definitely has the quality to take the win here. So I'm actually gonna predict a draw here between them, a 1-1 draw, Algeria and Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it. I don't think the score difference will be like different in this game, like I've said before. So yeah, I hear your reasoning on it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on to the final game: Portugal versus Uzbekistan. Oh, no.
Hmm. I actually want to hear your predictions for this one first.
So I mean, Uzbekistan obviously in the first game lost 3-1 against Colombia. Then on paper, Portugal has a better squad than Colombia, but at the same time, Portugal also drew against DR Congo, which is a good side, but obviously not at the caliber of Portugal. So I think this is going to be a really interesting game because once again the pressure falls on the shoulders of and the Uzbekistan defender uh, Husanov. So definitely a big game for him once again to see how he uh, does against Cristiano Ronaldo. His first game was pretty average, and now let's see if he does anything to actually step it up. But I think that Uzbekistan will lose here. I think Portugal, this is obviously just like the Spain game we saw, is definitely a do or die game for Portugal. So they're gonna go all out here, and I'm kind of expecting a similar scoreline to the Colombia game, the 3-1 for Portugal.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, like you have said, I mean, the pressure on Sanov is going to be crazy again. I mean, in the Colombia game, I don't think he was that bad, but after the game, a lot of people were like clowning on him, which I thought was crazy. So yeah, but that aside though, like you have said, I mean, Portugal, they do have to step up this game. And I think the main problem for them the last game was the fact that the manager Martinez tactics were they were just kind of bad. I mean, didn't really see any tactics like shown, like, we felt like when watching the game, there were like really no tactics whatsoever. But yeah, I do think they'll bounce back from this game though. And I'm backing a 2-0 win for Portugal.
Yeah, I mean, in the first game, it was obviously mostly the back passes that went through in the Portugal team. Back pass, they just kept the ball moving around. They were playing more like Spain in the game and just focusing more on possession rather than goals. So yeah, although I did predict a 3-1 win from Portugal, and I would honestly love to see a good game from Uzbekistan, and I would absolutely love an upset here because we've seen this in the tournament. We saw Curacao, we saw Cape Verde, and Uzbekistan are definitely capable of doing so. Oh yeah, I'm just hoping for yeah, really interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, an upset on this game would be beautiful as well.
Yeah, once again, World Cup debut, and uh, so yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Where also in this World Cup, you'd like to say that it's been the goalkeeper performances that have been amazing more than the team performances. Like we've never seen, like we haven't seen yet from a like you can say a striker or a midfielder or yeah. But the goalkeepers, Coutinho, Eloy Room, the Iranian goalkeeper, yeah, all of them are definitely doing well for their side. So yeah, Uzbekistan, their keeper also will have to face a lot of shots tonight. Yeah, tomorrow night perhaps. Oh, I'm hoping he kind of steps up as well to put his name up there alongside Coutinho and Eloy Room.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. I mean, there's been no doubt that the this World Cup we have seen like many great goalkeepers or performances already. I mean, in the Belgium Iran game, like you have said, Iran's goalkeeper was quite good when he made a lot of saves. And then even then Courtois, I mean, the first game he was looking kind of washed, but even for this game, I would say like Courtois was making like good saves again. It was a great performance. And for the New Zealand Egypt game, I think the Egyptian goalkeeper was playing quite good as well. And yeah, so but looking at Uruguay versus Cape Verde though, I mean obviously Muslera didn't really have a good game, understandably. And even Bosnia was I wouldn't yeah, I would say he was kind of average this game, but yeah, I mean the first game he had, obviously we cannot deny that. And also another fact I noticed was that the for the Uruguay versus Cape Verde game, both the goalkeepers are like 40 years old. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah, honestly, Muslera obviously a very he's been with Uruguay for quite some years now. He's been their starting goalkeeper. But to be honest, I kind of wanted to see the second keeper to start the game. But I think he's gonna do well as well. But let's see in the final game they have the toughest opponent of their group. So I'm really excited to see how this group shapes up.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. And we hope to continue to see the World Cup deliver. I mean, in my opinion, so far, I think the World Cup just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing performances people never expected, and apart from the on-field performances, we're also seeing a lot of off-field. Uh, you can say unity, perhaps, as you see the fans around the world, despite the ongoing geopolitical issues, they're all just staying together and having fun, not really mattering who's from where, and yeah, no matter their background, everyone just vibing to this World Cup, and I think that's quite wonderful. Um, and yeah, honestly, if I could, maybe we should, sh- uh, shift the World Cup to every 2 years rather than 4 years because I still think 4 years is a is a long wait.
Now, here's where I would disagree, though. I do think like the long wait is what kind of makes it super exciting. I mean, I feel like for 2 years it wouldn't hit the same, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, it's understandable for sure. It's been like that since the 1930s, and I wouldn't really change anything in that because you can already see the the hype building for the 2030 World Cup, considering it's gonna be in three different continents. So there's gonna be even yeah, it's gonna be even yeah. So really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this is it for today. Thank you all for watching the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and if you have any suggestions, do let us know in the comments. And see you tomorrow.
Yeah, catch you on the next one. Peace.